Mitten by Jan Brett. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother Baba did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. A mole, tired from tunneling, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so she decided to stay. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping along. She stopped for a moment to admire her winter coat. It was then that she saw the mitten and wiggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten. All right, hedgehog. There he goes, into the mitten. The mole, the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered in prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When she decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog grumbled. Oh, I hear them grumbling in the mitten, do you? They made room once they saw her glinty talons. Up through the snow appeared a badger. There's our badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased, but there was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and the fox, trotting by, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of a cozy mitten made her feel drowsy. The fox poked her muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, the badger saw her shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. A great big bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched, it pulled and bulged to many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. He wiggled into the one space left and made himself comfortable on top of the great big bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up in the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw the white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the sky. There's the mitten flying in the sky. As he ran to catch the snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First she looked to see if he was safe and sound. Then she saw he still had his snow white mittens. The end.